Welcome to American Dream TV with Don Gentley, Gino Fronte with DG Media, the Don and Gino Show, the National Real Estate Cafe, and here today to give you a realistic and timely update of what's really happening in the Los Angeles real estate market. And we're very excited because we brought one of the top professionals to help us with that, right, Gino?
That's right, Don. Always super excited to see Joyce Essex Harvey, one of the top real estate professionals in Los Angeles. And one of the really interesting things about Joyce is that she is really a full service agent. She's covered everything from a large REO agent to your traditional standard homes to the multi-million dollar home for the stars. So the reason we chose her for today's segment is she gets to cover the gamut as it relates to all of these COVID changes and things that are happening. And she can give you a wide view of the real estate without looking at just, some agents specifically work in one little price segment. So Joyce is going to be able to enlighten us what's happening at different price levels and how she feels about the market. How you doing today, Joyce?
I'm doing fabulous. How are you?
We're good. We're good. Just excited to have you here. And, as Dawn and I were discussing a little before the show, I think that, with all of your experience and 30 plus years experience in the LA market, Dawn and I discuss sometimes like we could read reports till we turn blue in the face. And, your core logic and NAR and all that stuff. To me, that doesn't matter as much as what I'm hearing on the phone when I talk to clients, what I'm seeing when I'm writing offers, when I'm talking to other agents and things of that nature. So I think one of the things that we wanted to embrace today was, what does this market feel to you?
Yeah, because Gino, we've seen that where you see the numbers. We study numbers, for National Real Estate Cafe, and the numbers aren't correlating to what we're actually seeing in the market. When everybody's talking about, whoa, is the market what that, and oh, the prices are going to go down, and we were seeing that prices were actually going up due to the fact that we still don't have enough inventory. So that's why we wanted to talk to a true professional that's been around the block for years and years, like me, a few decades, and we won't talk our years or anything, Joyce, just experience. We'll go there. Veterans in the industry. And it's cool to have you back on. And now we're on American Dream TV, as soon as seen on like CBS, Fox, Roku, Amazon, Android TV, and so forth. Far cry from our radio show, what, 8 years ago, I think you were on the show, something like that?
Yeah.
And we had
Thank
you
you
drive.
guys,
Yeah.
by the way. Thank you so much for inviting me back. And it's always a pleasure to see your faces. It's a lot of fun.
Right. So thank you for joining us. And so let's jump on in, Joyce. And how does the market feel right now with everything that's going on in COVID? Obviously, as a top professional, top REO agent, you know how to bob and weave with the markets as a true professional. And you've been able to adapt, I'm sure, rather quickly, better than most, as we've seen with COVID. So how's that feeling right now?
Well, obviously, it's changed our atmosphere quite a bit in like a lot of ways. Number one, we're rarely in our office anymore. And the buyers and sellers that are out there right now are limited, but that's because they're true buyers and sellers. I mean, we're not out there, people aren't just out looking at houses right now. So it's really affected the way um, like the showings are as far as being, I mean, they're just totally real buyers when we go to these properties. So when we've listed a new property, we just listed one in Beverly Hills actually for around $2 million, which is pretty low end. It's in the post office. We had literally 12 showings within like a 72-hour period. They were all real buyers in the area. Everybody came back like a couple times, everything. We have multiple offers on it. And even with the situation right now, the activity's just been amazing. I can tell you, so a lot of stress on the agents because we have to make sure there's only so many people in the house at the time. Everybody has masks on. We have to wipe everything down. It's just so changed the way that we used to do business. So, you know, people can say that COVID slowed things down, but really for us, it's actually put the real people into the market, it seems like, that are really looking. And the real sellers. People aren't putting their house on the market if they don't really want to sell right now because you don't have people coming through your house unless you really are a real seller. So it's really changed the clientele, I think, and the dynamics of the industry. We still are doing a lot of foreclosures, and not a lot, but I have a few in my, that we're still going through. And even there, we have to really control the agents going in, make sure everybody signs the PAD before they go into the property. It's a lot more work, but I think the clients are more real.
And
You
that's a
know,
key factor these days. And I want to give a little highlight too, because some of our listeners with American Dream TV are like, why we listen to Joyce? And you and Gino have a long history, and we know you were, if not the top, one of the top REO, foreclosure specialists in Los Angeles. How many transactions during your height? How many transactions you close in a year?
one year we closed 336, not 300, I'm sorry, 636 transactions. And
Okay.
6 of them were buyers. 630 of them were actually listings. Because I make it a
Wow.
point not to represent buyers on my listings. I just see it as a conflict, and I rather just represent my seller. Plus, when you have multiples, I just never saw it as being a fair thing to do. So literally 630 listings, 636 transactions in one year.
Okay, to
And
put
I
in
think the next
perspective.
was in 580s.
Woo! So to put in perspective, in most markets, any real estate agent that does 100 transactions is a rock star, like absolute, without a doubt, rock star. If you do 100 transactions in any market, you are an absolute rock star. You hit 6 times that. And just put in perspective, when they go, what kind of, and it equals a lot of experience. Because Gino and I talked about that, with that we do more transactions as loan officers, especially now that we have a team alone. So we close 250 transactions a month now. We learn a lot from that. And that's why I wanted to bring that up, is you have a lot of experience, and it's great for you to take time out of your busy schedule to share with us what's really happening. And you should know, because you do more transactions than most.
The
Well,
one thing, Don, that I want to dig into. Oh, go ahead, Joyce.
no, I was saying, it's surprising when you're saying learning lessons. I mean, now I've closed thousands of assets over the years. And I say to my staff, how come I'm still learning lessons? Like, how many more lessons do we have to
Right.
learn?
That's funny.
And no matter, it's still it's still growing. But when you say that about me selling a lot of properties, the thing that was so interesting is when we closed the biggest property we ever closed, which was around $60 million, the same time while I had that property listed, showing it to billionaires, we had properties down in other parts of LA that weren't even $100,000. So it's not just the experience with the people, it's the different clientele.
Mhm.
And it's really amazing, because LA is such a mix anyway, that you have all these different people and different backgrounds. That's what makes LA such a great place. But
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's added a lot to my knowledge, I have to say.
Yeah, we have the same situation, and I'm in charge of it's like I wear a T-shirt that says "I fix broken loans." I think that's what I do every day,
Mhm.
and the reality is that every once in a while, and it happened like twice this year already, where I'm like, I can't believe I've never seen that. Like, how is that even
Right.
possible? And you're right. There's definitely lessons to be learned. And just when you thought you did it all, you see something new that happens, and it's always lessons to be learned. And look, that's part of being successful, is taking those lessons and learning those lessons. We're only exposed to so many of those things because of our experience, because of our volume. I wanted to dig into something you said that I think people don't understand REO, and they think they're either on or off. And I don't think that that's true. I think that there's foreclosures in every market. There's foreclosures available all the time. It's just is many of them are there. It's more like a dimmer switch rather than an on and off switch. Is that right?
Well, the economical situation and what's going on obviously always affects it. I don't think we'll ever see, hopefully never see, what happened in 2008, 2009, 2010.
Please no.
Um, no, it was awful. I mean, until that point, you have to remember, I always did at least a property a week, 52 properties, just traditional sales. I was very happy. One a week, not two a day. There's a big difference,
Yeah.
and that when the economy shifts like that, that's not good for anybody, really. And really, I don't know if you want to know what kind of happened back there with the LA market, but when that happened, a lot of that base of the market was bought by investors like, the Blackstones and the Colony Capital and that type of thing. Um, and they came in and bought that base off the market. So that first time home buyer had a really hard time finding a property. They couldn't compete with all cash offers coming in. They were supposed to be rent and holds at that time, and they were supposed to be 3 to 5 year holds. Well, they were making such good rent on them, they ended up bulking them and securitizing those and selling them off. So a lot of those houses never came back on the market. And I think that had a lot to do with the market bouncing back in a way too, because there wasn't enough inventory and it rose the prices. You know, right now, I have to tell you, the market seems on fire to us,
Mm-hmm.
even at all levels. And if something's priced right, it's selling. And it doesn't matter if it's $100,000 condo or if it's like a $20 million house. It's very interesting market. I have to say, it's more unusual than I've ever been through.
Question for you. Everybody's talking about everybody running for the hills. So are you seeing a lot of people leaving California right now?
You know, we were talking about this the other day. California is still California. It's still like the best place to live. I mean, truly, we're in the west side of Los Angeles, okay? Truly, an LA story when it says 75, 75, 75, that's really where we usually are. And if it hits 90, people complain. If it gets down past 60, they complain, which is maybe 10% of the year. You can't beat California. It has everything. And the thing of it is yes, are people when they're retiring and stuff and they don't have to be here for business. I know we have a little place in the desert that we go play golf sometimes on the weekend. And we have a lot of friends there that are retired that have decided to move to Arizona or Las Vegas or Texas, um, basically due to the tax reasons and
Mm-hmm.
that type of thing, if you don't have to be here to work. But I have to tell you, overall, I don't know that people are moving out that much. I know there's some people that want to get out of the big city, but
Mm-hmm.
I think that comes back because, there's nothing like, I mean, look at Manhattan. Look at what, I mean, that's where the action is. LA is where the action is, so I think we're always going to have all gamuts of people here. And some people, like I said, retirees probably moving out, but it's still the best place to work. It's probably the best opportunity in the United States. You can do anything here. And
Mm-hmm.
we still have the entertainment industry in where we
And
are.
that'll be back. That'll be back. I mean, you mentioned that, and Gino
Yeah.
and I have used this, and shoot, what, I don't know how many years ago, but we talked about, when the market started crashing, that people moved away from LA and then they came back to LA. I mean, it ebbs and flows, but it's centered around LA. It really is. Opportunities, jobs, being close to your work, being close to the action, all that. It just ebbs and flows. And if anybody's leaving LA, they'll be back to LA. But we think this is an event, that has made this happen, not a a real estate or mortgage or economic downturn. It's just an event that is causing all this. And it looks like you're doing a great job with adjusting to that and still helping your buyers and sellers out. Do you feel pretty good about the market moving forward?
I do. Again, the thing with LA, I mean, we can be to the beach, we can be in the mountains, we can be in the desert. I mean, there's really not a lot of places in the world that have what we have in California. And I think no matter what happens, people are always going to be drawn to California. But as far as the people coming here, people are still excited about coming here when they're coming from other places. It's just such a beautiful place to come. And I don't know with the market, we may have, in a couple years, something happen because of repercussions of everything going on. Um, Unfortunately, politics come into so much of everything that happens, and it's very stressful to watch. I mean, I think United States has to unite and really get together, and that's the cool thing that's always been about Los Angeles. We have such a mixture of everything, and everybody's always been very united, you
Always
know?
great advice, Joyce, and so excited to see you and see you being so successful. No surprise, as you're just a real person, which is nice. I love when we have these interviews with top professionals. A lot of people think they're untouchable, they're above it all, but you're just a really sweet, hardworking lady that is great with your clients. And we really appreciate you taking time to be on our show with American Dream. Pretty cool, right?
You talk about an American dream. Just my girlfriend, I'm seeing her this weekend from North Dakota, which is where I grew up. And I have to tell you, not that there's a lot to do in North Dakota, but the people are such good human beings. And I have to tell you, that's so important. And I think too, this COVID, even though we haven't been able to be close to people, I know I've talked to my brothers and sisters and family and friends more on Zoom and on the phone than I have in a really long time. And the other thing that's good about this whole thing is people are with their families. Like, even though they complain, oh my gosh, I had to be home with my 4 kids for the last week, people are bonding with their families. That maybe this was a little, we all had to take this little relaxation gap and be with our families and worry about your health a little bit and things that we get so wrapped up in our everyday business that I don't know, maybe this happened just to get us all back to a little reality.
Yeah,
Don,
that's it.
how
It's
interesting is that now that this is our second interview that we've done on the American Dream where it comes up, the subject comes up of it's a reset. We needed it.
the power of
And
the
I've
pause.
said the power of the pause. And what I've been saying is I got my family back. I hadn't seen my family and it feels like what was a decade. I
Yeah,
would
sorry
leave in the
about that,
morning
by the way.
before the before I would
You're
leave
working
before
like
they
dogs
woke
for
up.
10 years.
Yeah.
Well,
I
if
would
you're in a
leave
good
before they woke up
relationship
and
or
I came
not.
back. Yeah, you
I
find out
said,
real quick.
Yeah, you
Mhm.
know if you're in a good relationship or not. That's for
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
So
it's funny because I just got recently engaged last year, and we decided to move in together. And also, then we moved in together, we also both have to work from home together. So the good news, we're like, and it's working. We get along. So let's move forward.
That's a good thing.
No, it's been great.
um,
It's been good in a lot of ways, and it's forcing us also to not get complacent and really do our best to connect with all like our teammates, our family members, and all that. And I love how real you are, Joyce. And thank you for your time today. And we'll definitely bring you back and continue to get more insight from you. And of course, we wish you nothing but success. And thank you for being part of American Dream TV today.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
thank you, Joyce.
I
Really good to see
appreciate
you
it.
again. Always a pleasure. And we need to connect more often. So here we are finally connecting after a while that we had been disconnected. And when we get a chance to and everything's all up and running, we'd love to go have lunch.
There you go.
Thank
Thank
you,
you again,
Gino.
Joyce. And those of you, if you want to find out more, you can always go to American Dream TV Facebook. You can always find out more about Don and Gino at donandgino.com. We're going to keep you in the know. So thank you again, Joyce, and thank you for being part of our show today.
Thank you.